In today's episode, we're working on this little BMW 240i, and it's in for a new car prep and a ceramic coating. So like I said, we're working on this little BMW. We're gonna start the wash process on it. We have to kind of work fast. I don't know if it's gonna rain on us or not, but let's go through our wash process. I'll show you little bits and pieces of the wash process as we go along, and then we're gonna pull it in. Guys, if you're enjoying videos like this, and I hope you are, consider subscribing and clicking that bell so you don't miss stuff. And if you're interested in any of the products or the tools, check out the links down below, as well as a new page on our website where you can pick up the most used tools and products inside and out, as well as t-shirts, other merchandise, and 2 free forms. You can download our acknowledgement form and our customer sign-off form. So those are available to download for free. So let's take a quick look at the little Beamer. It has beautiful black metallic paint. It does have some water spotting, some swirling, but it's not really too bad. The wheels and tires are really gross, and the wheel wells, ugh, that needs to be all cleaned and flushed out. We are doing a full interior on this as well, but again, really not too bad. We are gonna do fabric top protection. Now with this, because the top is so clean, all you really need to do is just kind of vacuum it, maybe use like a sticky roll to get some of the lint off, maybe some spot cleaning, there's little parts there, and then we're going to protect it with fabric protection. Now this can be tricky because when you wash the vehicle, you're gonna have edges that are wet, and you need to put fabric protection when everything is completely dry. We'll have to see. We're not gonna foam and rinse up here. We're gonna try to keep things towards the bottom here, and I'm sure the edges will get wet. But as we're polishing and all of that, hopefully all of that will dry in time, and before I put the coating on, I'm gonna be putting the protection on there. Or if it's not dry in time, we'll do all the work today, and then tomorrow we'll do the fabric protection. So we'll see which comes first. It does have some imperfections, I think maybe little dings and dents here and there. Overall, really not too bad. I think the dirtiest parts are the door jambs. So we usually start with the door jambs. We're gonna pre-clean them using an all-purpose cleaner. And I don't worry about having that dry because it's in the door jamb, and you know, you close the door and it's not gonna dry in the sun. But still, I only give it about a minute and then I go and rinse it out. And as far as the engine goes, I'm basically just doing the cowl area. I want to flush all of that out. We also have our IK foamer, and we have super clean in here. I think it's like 1 to 6 in there. I keep diluting it a little bit more and just adding water to it until I get the right consistency. So it could be around 1 to 6, maybe even 1 to 8. But as long as you get the consistency that you want, it's going to kind of cling to the paint. If you want really thick foam, that could be good. If you want more of a runny foam, that's kind of a personal choice. You kind of figure that out for yourself as to which one works better for you. Uh-oh. Oh, power was out last night. There we go. And you can already see how it's working on the tires. So if it's dissolving junk like that on the tires, it's also doing it on the paint. So you only let that dwell on here for maybe 60 seconds. If you don't have full sun and the car's not hot or anything, it can dwell a little bit longer. Just don't let it dry. And this pre-cleaning stage is the most important part of the process. It's getting the majority of the junk off the paint before we foam and contact wash. And I'll talk about why we foam and the difference between snow foaming and what we do. All right, so washing and deconning is now done. And man, the wheels and the tires and the wheel wells, they were really the dirtiest part of the vehicle. So we did got the edges of this wet, but we're gonna blow dry it. And I think in a couple of hours, that usually dries pretty fast. So that's really not too bad. I'm sure by the time we're done polishing, it will be ready to put that fabric protection on. So let's clean up our mess here. We're gonna pull this in, continue drying it, and then inspect the paint. So using a snow foam, I think that term is misrepresented and said too often, and it's lost its meaning because a lot of people don't really understand what the snow foaming is. That's really more of a UK thing. They use a high alkaline strong foaming shampoo to basically blanket the whole vehicle as they're pre-wash, letting it dwell, breaks down junk. And I've heard some people say, oh, I've experienced it myself. It doesn't really do much in loosening the dirt and having the dirt run down. No, that's not the point. It's emulsifying and loosening it. Doesn't mean it's going to necessarily run down. Some does. The attached stuff, it's going to soften. So when you go back with your pressure washer, it's going to blast it off. Some just don't use logic and thinking ability to kind of reason it through and to understand the reasons behind a snow foam. However, I don't use a traditional snow foam. The foaming that you see me do is just with a regular shampoo, and that's for our contact wash. That is simply an application of the shampoo onto the vehicle to add lubricity, to add cushion, and to basically use less product, putting it onto the vehicle instead of putting a couple of ounces in a foam bucket where you lose the foam over a while and you have to keep shooting the bucket to foam it up. No. This is efficient. I learned that years ago. Foaming up a bucket is very inefficient. I've done it. I don't like it. I would lose time and I would actually use more water and sometimes even more chemical because it wasn't getting the foam that I wanted. Using a foam cannon is efficient. You use less product and it's so much faster. We've learned that over the years. It's tried and true for us. So if you don't quite understand it or you think that foaming or snow foaming is a gimmick, you got to do more research. You have to detail longer to be able to understand how and why and when to use such products and such methods. So now with everything dried and blown dry, let's inspect the paint. And as you can see in the lights, you know what, let me change the color temperature of these. I want these more of a white light. There we go. So yes, we do have some swirls, but you know what? This is typical like wash marring type of swirls. They're not really too bad. This will correct pretty easily. We just have some drippage. I know we still have to go back over a few areas, make sure they're bone dry, but look, see, that's really not too bad. That's pretty simple. That's pretty easy. This is actually pretty well cared for. It's a 2017, and yeah, usually you see worse. Oh, there's some deeper scratches right there. We'll see what we can do about those. But this is in for a paint enhancement, so we're not going full correction or anything, but we're gonna get it to our standard, which is usually about 50 to 75%. We got some deeper scratches there, and yeah, I'm gonna remove the plate. We got a deep chip there, and some other chips throughout the vehicle. That's pretty typical, right on the door there, right on that edge. And we have a chip right there also. So it's got its little fair share of little chips and scratches and road rash and things like that. But yeah, I think we can definitely make this look better. We got another chip down there, a couple of chips, and a chip right there, and a chip right there. It's always good to document that. Go over those areas with your camera or your phone just to document it and show the customer that those, of course, were chips and things that were there. Sometimes the customer just doesn't know it, they don't see it, and when you point it out to them, when you bring it out to them, then all of a sudden, you know, it can seem like those weren't there before, when yes, they were there before. You simply just didn't notice it, and we're bringing it to your attention because we're going over it with a surgeon's eye, and that's what happens. We bring out all those defects for you to see. However, let's focus on the majority. That's what we try to show customers. We'll show customers all those little dings and defects, and I think I do have some paint. I'll touch those up. The overall effect is what we're going for, and that's really what you have to help your customer to understand, is the overall effect. Don't focus on those little chips. Those things will happen over time. They're out of your control, and they're out of the customer's control. So focus on the majority of how the paint looks and the protection that we're going to be applying as well. So we're going to start in the interior. It's not bad at all. We're going to blast this out and then get started on the exterior polishing, and hopefully this is already feeling dry. Yeah, so this one will only take an hour or two to dry. Oh, look at the back glass, that is bad. Perhaps by the time we're done with the interior, maybe we can just treat the exterior, treat the top, and then get to polishing. That way it's all done. So the interior now is clean, and really it didn't take much. Carpets were really not bad at all. The leather wasn't bad. Just a few little spots that needed some cleaning. Now we're going to focus on the top. We're going to do the interior a little bit later with the protection, and we're going to use the DIY interior ceramic. This stuff is cool. This can go on everything, leather, plastic, vinyl, including textiles, so fabrics and carpets. So we'll use that in a moment. But let's focus on the exterior. Say it.
I was born in the darkness.
Nice. So we're going to use DP's Fabric Preserve. And basically this is just a spray on and just kind of work it into the fabric. Actually, you can use something like this to actually work it in. So we turned on all the fans and we opened the door. Now it looks patchy, I know. Don't worry about that. Don't try to like saturate every little spot because it'll drive you nuts. Some areas are going to be a little bit more saturated than areas, but once everything is dried, then you'll have nice even protection. So we're just wiping all the glass, all the paint down. We're using some Koch Chemie all-purpose spray here and just wiping everything down, making sure that there's no drips or spots or overspray. Oh man. My plug just came loose from these lights. Now on to polishing. So we're going to use our usual orange Lake Country pad. We're going to be using Dr. Beasley's today. We're going to pick the 45. We're going to see how that works. Oh, and just if you're curious, we used the new Phoenix Kraken all-purpose cleaner. I only diluted this like 1 to 10 to use for the interior. Awesome, awesome stuff. Cool thing about this stuff is that it's only like a pH of 9. So it's not super high alkaline. It can be used on the interior without leaving residue and without having to actually rinse it out, which is really, really cool. And you can dilute this stuff even up to like 15 to 1 or 20 to 1 to use for very light cleaning. So awesome, awesome stuff. Now when you buy the Kraken, it comes with the bottle of concentrate, which you can buy in larger bottles, of course, but you can even start with a small bottle like this. And you also get a ready-to-use bottle, so already a pre-labeled bottle with a trigger so that you can properly dilute. Aaron, you're the man. We're also going to be using the Geon 1 coating today. Now this says 1, but the new Evo line has doubled all of their coatings, their durability on them. So their 1 coating is now actually a 2-year coating. Very cool. And we're going to use the Apex trim coating. So this is from Apex Detail. Brian, if you don't know him, why don't you know him yet? Go to his channel, go check it out. I'll have links down below. This is his trim coating. He also makes a 1-year coating, which I think is unavailable right now, but it is incredible. I hope he gets it back in his shop. But also his metal oxide is very, very strong stuff. So awesome, awesome stuff. So here is our combo. Check that out. So from that to that, with Dr. Beasley's NSP 45 and an orange pad. That is awesome. Now you see a little bit of smearing there. Don't worry about that. That is just the nature of that polish. These are primer polishes. It actually has ceramic built into it that act like anchor points on the paint. It basically lays down a ceramic layer already that starts to bond, and then you can put any ceramic coating over it and it helps it bond even more. We've seen this on vehicles already going up to a year on a black vehicle that is daily driven, and Crystal Serum Light is performing better on that than it is on another vehicle only at 6 months where we didn't use this. Now I know there's a lot of variables there, and you may be thinking, oh, the Crystal Serum Light isn't a good coating. No, that's not the point. The other vehicle is, I think, maybe driven a little bit more. However, the Dr. Beasley's NSP polishes boost the performance of any ceramic coating that you put on top of it. So very impressed with this stuff. That's why we use it so much. The paint is now polished and Wifey is working on wheels and tires. She's coating the wheels with Geon Rim and the tires with Enzo Orbit tire dressing. The fancy stuff. Now here's a point with the Dr. Beasley's NSP polishes that I talk about in every video where I use them. You will see a little bit of a smeary haze that may come back and then you wipe it and then it kind of comes back. Don't be concerned about that. Don't worry about that. When you coat the vehicle, coat right over it, the paint comes out crystal clear, comes out perfect. None of that hazing or smearing comes back. It's just kind of a byproduct of that polish. So don't worry about that. It comes out incredible. And like I mentioned before, the primer polish actually boosts the performance of any ceramic coating that you put on top of it. That is the benefit of those NSP polishes. Another cool thing is you don't have to overuse the polish. Now you notice that it comes in these little bottles here. You can get larger packages too, but you may look at the price of this and think to yourself, wow, that is really expensive. I can get cheaper polishes and they'll work just as well. Yes and no. You can get cheaper polishes, but they will not work just as well. This is my secret weapon when dealing with black paint. Now this isn't really black finicky paint, but still, this is black paint and I don't want to have to wipe it down with a panel wipe and risk putting any type of marring into it. That's where this comes in. You don't have to use a panel wipe because it is a primer. And you don't have to overuse this product. What I mean by that is all you need is 1 pea size drop on your pad. You don't need to prime your pad. That's completely unnecessary with this polish. 1 pea size drop per section is all you need. Doing this entire vehicle, maybe an ounce total of product, and that's all you need. This stuff spreads a very long way, has a long working time, and again, just use tons of towels, because if you do get some smearing, it's not a big deal. Just wipe it, and then when you coat it, it'll go away. So we're applying the interior ceramic from DIY Detail, and this is super easy to apply. We're using an applicator and just making sure to cover all of the surfaces, and this can go on vinyl, plastic, and leather, as well as carpet. So yeah, it is really, really nice stuff, and already it leaves the leather looking really, really nice. Not greasy or shiny or anything like that, just a nice, natural look to the leather and to the vinyl. So already easy stuff to use. That's what I really like, is products that are easy to use and they produce a great finish. And this does have UV protection in it as well, so that's a plus. So here you can see the distinction between what I just coated and what still has a little bit of the smearing from Dr. Beasley's. You can see the clarity, you can see the line right there. So any of that light, minor little smearing and hazing from the NSP polish will go away and leave you with crystal clear paint. It looks awesome. Yeah, you can see the line right there. And I know it looks all hazy and you think it's unfinished, but no, it's not. Once you coat it, it goes away and it looks phenomenal. It's amazing you can actually see that clear line there. Good, that's a great example of it. So we're gonna fly around and coat all of the paint. Not a lot of trim on here actually. Wheels and tires are already done. Windshield is just curing with that G5 sealant, and all of this is already all dry. Look how nice it looks. Beautiful. All the interior was done using the interior ceramic. So yeah, we are almost done here. Usually I leave coatings till the very last, especially for the paint. Actually, the only thing I think we'll have to do here is the cowl with the Apex trim coating, and that's about it. The rest of it is looking incredible.